Bob, everyone's calling you a national treasure. Ever since watching you on Hard Knocks, everybody says this guy's a national treasure. Do you read the things that people are writing and saying about you?
I try not to, obviously. It's just me being me. It wasn't, I haven't changed my personality. I haven't changed the way I coached. I haven't changed anything. I haven't changed drills in years. And add stuff and take stuff away, but nothing major. And all they did was they put a camera on me. You know what I mean? And
gave you a microphone.
My buddies say that's Bob just being Bob.
Joe Thomas tweeted out the only mistake HBO made was that they didn't do a whole show about you.
That's everything I've done, you know what I mean? It was, I always started. I'll give you, for instance, I started to coach Pop Warner football. That's where I started coaching football, and then I spent 30 plus years coaching professional football when I started in Pop Warner. I wasn't a GA for Ohio State and worked my way up. You know what I mean? I wasn't a former player somebody gave a job to. I was a Pop Warner football coach that ended up coaching junior high school. That ended up coaching high school. That ended up coaching college. That ended up coaching in professional football.
I have to ask you, just for clarification, do you really have a thing against stretching?
No, I was just trying to make a point on, we try to improve on what we do, so they come up with all these new techniques and things and how to. Man's been on the planet for 200,000 years, the oldest common dated fiber, I guess, fossil of man. And the body still works the same way. The joints in the body work the same way. You know what I mean? So you only can put your body in a position to work the way your joints are going to let you work. And it's been doing that for 200,000 years. And the stretching part, okay, they got all these new ways to stretch, and I think back and I'm saying the guys that fought in the wars, even when I was in high school, we did jumping jacks, sit-ups, push-ups, and we went to play. And then when you're a kid, you go climb a tree. There's a lot of trees, so we climb trees and climb rocks and do all that kind of stuff. And we never stretched. We never even thought about stretching. We went down to the playground to play baseball. We just went down there, nobody stretched to play baseball. Then all of a sudden you get the organized team things, and all this stretching you need to, it's like they brainwash you. Well, you need to stretch. You know what I mean? And it kind of hit me. It always hits me funny. But you had I think the greatest generations were the guys that were born in the early 20s. Wow. Those guys that fought in the Second World War. And
that's why they're called the greatest generation, right?
And, I can't see them. Picture those guys that are in a landing craft and they're approaching the beach and they hear the bullets are pinging off the sides and the front of the craft. Okay, you think that those guys are really at that point in time worried about if they're going to stretch and get off this, you know what I mean? Or the guys running across the beaches, they just did it.
Do you think there should always be a clear winner in an NFL game? How do you feel about this whole tying business?
Well, you'd like to have a clear winner. You truly would like to have it. I believe that you're either going to win the game or lose the game. Okay, yeah. But somewhere along the line, somebody said, well, they've played long enough, it's a tie. Okay, I think you keep playing, like in college football. I don't know, do they come to a tie in college football? No, they keep on playing until you have a defined winner.
Yes.
Okay, I believe that's what you're playing a game to win. You're not playing a game to tie. I was going out for this baseball team, and I was a catcher, and I made the first cut, I made the second cut, I made the third cut, okay? And all of a sudden on the fourth cut, they cut me. And I said, I was mad, I was upset. So I go home and I'm really mad. And I'm sitting on my bed, and my dad comes in, and he goes, well, what's the problem? He said, I just got cut. He said, you got cut? I said, yeah, I just got cut. He said, well, maybe you should practice a little more. Maybe you should practice more. You know, and he left the room. There was no, don't worry about it, son. Everything's going to be fine. You know what I mean? There was none of that stuff. There was, well, maybe you should practice more and get better. Now, fast forward 40 plus years, we're playing in San Francisco 49ers, and you get dressed there, or you go down to the field. I don't do that much anymore. You kind of just stay in the locker room. But you go down and you talk to the other coaches because they're your buddies on the other side of the field. You've known them for years. And you talk to some of their players. And so I go up to Jerry Rice, and I said, Jerry, you're going to be one of the best wide receivers or best football player, okay, ever to play this game when it's all said and done. I said, what do you contribute? So how do you do it? What's your mentality? What's your philosophy? He looked at me and says, Coach, he said, it's really kind of simple. He says, you want to get a little better? Work a little harder. I said, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. My dad told me that like 40 plus years ago. You want to get better? Go practice more.
Your dad and Jerry Rice, they knew what they were talking about, right?
There's simple things that, you know, and people, you know, if they just believe in that, they can get better. You know what I mean? Just do that. Get a little bit better every day.
Do you think a lot of people get wrapped up in comparing themselves to others, and so they don't notice their own improvement?
I think they try to compare themselves to the elite players and see, okay, you know, like we all emulated people when we were growing up as kids. I mean, you know, you wanted to swing like Ted Williams when I was growing up as a kid. You know, you emulated the best baseball players, the best basketball players, the best football players. You wanted to play like those guys. You try to emulate the best pro golfers swing. If you were playing golf as a kid, I want to swing like that guy. You try to copy it. You know what I mean? And I think the guys nowadays, they'll look at other players play, the good ones, and they'll look and say, well, what does he do to block that guy that I don't do, that I can take from him and get better? You know? And I think that's what they should do. How does that fit into my game that's going to make me better, okay, to get the job that I need to get done?
With your guys here, with your Browns players here, if they have a game or they have a play and it did not work, what do you say to them then to keep them in the game and keep them going so the head game doesn't get in the way?
I try to tell them, you can't be, I think in life in general, people don't think big enough because they're afraid to fail. In life, people don't think big enough because they're afraid to fail, and they think the failure is going to make them look bad in front of their parents, in front of their wives, their children, their girlfriends, you know. And that's not the problem. You're not going to be defined in life if you fail. You're defined in life on how far you've risen after you have fallen. That's what defines your life. You know what I mean? So you can't be afraid to fail. Because if you're afraid to fail, you're not playing at the highest level you need to play at so we can get to the playoffs and continue on and get to the big game. People have a mindset, okay? You have a voice in your head that you're either based on judging, okay, or it's based on a positive mind, a growth mindset. So you're either in a judging mindset or you're in a growth mindset, okay? Judging, it's somebody else's fault. It's somebody else's problem. I didn't see the safety. I didn't hear the quarterback. I didn't get the line call. You know what I mean? You're throwing somebody else under the bus. It's not my problem. It's somebody else's problem, okay? You're not going to get any better. Those guys, you're going to have problems with those guys, okay? And the guys with the growth mindset, when it doesn't go right, okay, they say, okay, it didn't go right? I messed something up. What did I do wrong, right? Why did I do it wrong? How am I going to fix it? How am I going to do it better? Right? Those are the guys that seem to last and progress and keep going. Okay? And then there's a point in time where you got to get rid of it. Because you don't know. I tell them to flush it. I said, flush it, guys. Flush it, get rid of it. And it's no good to you. Win or lose. If it was good or bad, okay? You got to get rid of that play because the only thing that matters is you have to teach them how to stay in the moment which is the toughest thing to teach athletes or to teach anybody, is the only thing that matters is what's happening right now. The only thing that matters is what we're talking about right now, right? And so a player in a professional sports, the only thing that matters is what's happening at that point in time. Nothing else matters. So when a quarterback steps in a huddle, you watch the quarterbacks in pro football, they usually stand outside the huddle and they're listening for the play. Okay, and then they're watching the personnel groupings come on, and then they count up how many guys are in the huddle, then they count 11, I step in. You know what I mean? When that happens, that's your signal to get rid of that play, the last play. You flush that last play, because the only thing that matters now is the play he's going to call right now. Last one's gone forever. The next one, you don't know what's going to be. The only thing you know is what he's going to say right now, guys. Right? And that's the most important part. Stay in the moment.
How often do you see somebody come through with just pure talent, not necessarily the work ethic, but they make it through and have a great career just on pure talent?
That doesn't happen a whole lot. You know what I mean? The guys with the talents that keep the work ethic, okay, those are the guys that are wearing and it's not so much the yellow jackets, like I told Joe. I said, Joe, you're going to get a yellow jacket, okay? It's not the yellow jacket. Everybody can go out and buy a yellow jacket. I said, it's the blue ring. They give you a blue ring, like a Super Bowl ring, that tells you you're in the Hall of Fame. It's not the yellow jacket. It's the blue ring that makes you really special. That's it.
He'll get one.
And you don't know who it's going to be when they first sit in their own little seats. I don't know, who's going to be. Joe's going to be there, okay? And out of all those guys that sit in our room, who's the next guy that's going to be there? Or who's the next guy in this team that's going to have that chance to do that? Joe's going to be compared to some of the greatest guys to play the game that go all the way back to 1920.
Isn't that incredible? It's awesome.
That's wonderful.
And he's a solid human being.
Oh, yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a better person than a player.
Such a great person. They're the whole family. Speaking of passion, you have a passion for the Maserati. The Maserati and Bob Wylie, they became synonymous with each other. Where'd that come from? When did you end up falling in love with these cars?
Oh, God. Way back in I think it was 1986, I bought my first, it wasn't an exotic car. To me, it was exotic. I bought a 944 Porsche back then, way back then, okay? And then I just kind of worked my way up into, the Maseratis. And then when I got the first one, it was really, I said, this is a fun car. This is a car I like to drive. This car makes noise. Some of the other electric cars, they don't make a lot of noise, okay?
No, this has got a growl.
This one makes noise, you know what I mean? And then I had gotten the Quadruporte GT Sport, okay, the four-door. And that was nice, you know what I mean? And the touring car, okay? And then all of a sudden, as I had that for a while, and I said, the Gran Turismos, they look like they're a lot of fun, you know what I mean? So I had a buddy that owned a car dealership, and down I coached his son, and we were talking, and I said, I'm looking for a Gran Turismo. What do you got? He says, let me call you back on that. I said, okay. So he calls me back a few weeks later. He says, I got one coming in. I said, okay. So he told me about it, and I ended up buying it. Okay. Well, then I got another friend that's a service manager, and he calls me up and he says, hey, look, there was a guy in here. He's got a Maserati, and it's got 5,000 miles on it. Okay, and he wants to get rid of it. I said, what? He said, you better go look at it. So I go over to the guy's house, and he pulls up his garage door, and he's got a Bentley, and he's got a Ferrari, and he's got something. I mean, he's got
a nice garage.
He's got a lot of toys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's got the Gran Turismo. He's set over in the corner with a cover on it. So he take the cover off. You know what I mean? It's beautiful, beautiful car. And I said, well, how much you want for it? He says, make me an offer. So I said, so I made him an off-the-wall offer. And he looks at me and he goes, okay. And I bought another one. So I said, I got too many of them.
I love that scene on Hard Knocks where you drop it off at the valet. You said, don't do any of that Ferris Bueller stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which I love that movie, by the way. So
That's one of the classic movies of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be like when I was in high school. That would be what I probably like in high school.
Yes. It
Doing
was.
those type of things, you know.